All right, we're going to look at how to handle circuits in which the resistors are not in series or in parallel. So you notice this funny circuit with a couple power sources, a couple batteries, and you have, for example, this 20 ohm resistor that is definitely not in series with this 2 ohm resistor, because you can see there's like a fork in the road. So these two resistors are not in series. And likewise, they're not necessarily going to have the same voltage drop across them. So these two resistors aren't in series and they're not in parallel. So we're going to have to do something else to handle this circuit in order, say, to figure out how much current runs through the resistors. So the process that you want to follow is, well, first what you want to do is figure out how many unique currents there are. And so what we're trying to do is find the current, let's say, in each of the resistors. And so what you need to do first is just kind of make a reasonable guess as to which way the currents go. And so we're going to assume directions of currents. Well, one that somebody might guess is that the current will go this way because that's the battery with the largest voltage, that maybe it's going to just drive the current that way. So that's a reasonable guess. Another guess somebody might make is that this 2-volt battery is going to push the current this way. Now that we've guessed these two, we're now committed to which way we think the current needs to go through this diagonal segment. We can't really have it coming down this way because you can't have all the current meet in this point here. There'd be like some kind of black hole where charge vanishes. So you can't really do that. And so the only reasonable thing once you've made the first two assumptions is to have the current going, say, diagonally up and to the left. Now what's going to happen, since we've made a physically reasonable assumption here, this process we're about to follow is going to work. But we may find that we've guessed wrong on one or more of the directions of currents, and then what will happen is those currents will just come out negative. So let's see how this plays out. So here's our assumption. The idea here is that maybe these two batteries are pushing the current up through the middle here, and so it's kind of circulating this way on this side and this way on the other. So then what we're going to do is look at junctions, or points where the currents kind of come together. And, well, you get a pretty simple relationship here because you'd have current 1 coming in, meeting current 2, and then together they conspire to make current 3. So that's a pretty simple little relationship. You could look at this other junction over here, but the issue there is you just see that current 3 becomes current 1 and current 2, and that's basically going to be the same equation. So you don't learn anything new by looking at the other point once you've already looked at, say, this one. And so now for the new thing. What we're going to do is do something that's called Kirchoff loops. And the idea is, it's not as fancy as it sounds. All that happens is you pick a place on the circuit that's at a certain voltage, and we don't know what it is necessarily, but we just know it's at a certain voltage. And when you walk around past like different appliances and whatnot, the voltage will change, and change again. But by the time you come back to the same point, since you've returned to the same point, the voltage needs to be whatever it started at. So in other words, the sum of changes around any loop need to be 0. And so we're going to go for it. Well, so if you do, I guess, this left-hand side, what I'm calling the left loop, what you'd see is if you go this way around the loop, you would climb by 10. So that's why this first term is 10. Then you would fall by, well, I times R, or 20 times I3. You would fall by that many volts, and the sum of those two voltage changes needs to be 0. And so what's kind of cool about that is straight away you see that you can solve for the current. So I3 is going to have to be half an amp, so that's kind of cool. So half an amp goes through this segment, right? Now what we can do then is look at the other loop. Let's look at the right-hand side, so this one. And the relationship you get here is, well, we get 2, so we climb by 2 volts, minus 4I2, because you go down by IR, and then here we go minus 20I3, and then here we go minus 2I2, going this way. So this is all I2 in this segment here, so that's where that came from. And so ultimately what you get then here is, if you plug in for what I3 is, you'll get minus 6I2 equals 8, and then lo and behold, what will happen is you'll learn that I2, you'll get a negative value. That doesn't mean we're really wrong or something. It just means that this assumption we made about which way this current goes, well, that's not quite right. It's just going to go the other way. So basically what happens is, so don't worry, fear not, it just means I2 goes the other way. So what ends up happening actually in the circuit is the 10-volt battery not only pushes current this way through the 20 ohm resistor, but it also feeds current back this way through the battery. So it would basically be like maybe trying to recharge or something this 2-volt battery. So this 2-volt battery kind of gets in your face, and the current goes actually the other way from what I've drawn here from I2. So that's how you set up some circuits where the current or where the resistors are not in series or parallel. Add the currents at the junctions. And you can come up with an equation that relates the currents, and then you do what are called Kirchoff loops to get enough equations to kind of solve for the unknowns.